Welcome to the Fluent Storybook. I want you to pause everything you're doing right now. Put down your phone. Stop scrolling. Close your eyes for just a moment and ask yourself this one question. What story am I writing with my life? Not the story you tell others. Not the story you post on social media. The real story. The one that happens when nobody's watching. The one written in your daily choices, your habits, your fears, and your courage. Everyone has a story, but most people are living someone else's story. They're following a script written by society, by fear, by the voice that says, stay safe, don't risk, don't dream too big. They're characters in their own lives instead of being the author. But you're here watching this video because something inside you knows there's more. You know your story isn't finished. You know the best chapters haven't been written yet. And today, I'm going to help you pick up that pen and start writing the story you were born to tell. This isn't just about learning English. This isn't just about motivation. This is about becoming fluent in your own life. This is about mastering the language of success, the grammar of greatness, the vocabulary of victory. If you want more content like this, raw, real, life-changing content that doesn't sugarcoat the truth, then subscribe to the Fluent Storybook right now. We don't just teach language here. We teach life fluency. We help you become fluent in your dreams. Chapter 1. The story you're not telling yourself. Let me tell you about Sarah. She's 28 years old, works in accounting, speaks decent English, has a stable job, pays her bills on time. From the outside, her story looks fine, normal, safe, but Sarah has another story, the real one. The one where she cries in her car every Monday morning because she hates her job. The one where she dreams of starting her own business, but tells herself she's not smart enough. The one where she wants to travel the world, but convinces herself she doesn't have enough money. Sarah's real story is written in the silence of her unfulfilled dreams. What about you? What's the story you're not telling yourself? Maybe it's the story where you know you could be earning more money, but you've convinced yourself you don't deserve it. Maybe it's the story where you dream of speaking English fluently, but you tell yourself you're too old, too stupid, too late. Maybe it's the story where you want love, respect, freedom, success, but you've written yourself as the character who doesn't get those things. Here's the truth that will change everything. You are not just the character in your story. You are the author. You hold the pen. Every day you wake up, you choose which chapter to write. The question is, are you writing a story worth reading? Or are you stuck in the same chapter, page after page, year after year? Solution. Today, right now, I want you to write down your real story. Not the public version, the private one. What do you really want? What are you really afraid of? What story are you avoiding? Write it down because you can't edit a blank page, and you can't change a story you won't admit you're living. Chapter 2. The language of mediocrity. There's a language that keeps people trapped. It's spoken by millions of people every day, and it's the language of mediocrity. Let me teach you this language, so you can recognize it when it tries to control your story. I can't afford it. I don't have time. I'm not good at that. Maybe someday. It's too risky. People like me don't do things like that. I'll try. I should. Probably. This is the vocabulary of a victim. These are the words that write small stories, safe stories, forgettable stories. But there's another language. The language of champions. The language of people who write legendary stories with their lives. How can I afford it? How can I make time? How can I get good at that? Today is someday. How can I minimize the risk? People like me are exactly who should do things like that. I will. I must. Do you hear the difference? It's not just words. It's power. It's possibility. It's the difference between being fluent in excuses and being fluent in solutions. Listen to yourself speak for one full day. Count how many times you use victim language versus champion language. The ratio will tell you exactly why your story hasn't changed. Example: instead of saying, "I can't speak English well," say, "I'm improving my English every day." Instead of, "I don't have money," say, "I'm creating new income streams." Instead of, "I'm too old," say, "I'm experienced and ready." Solution: change your internal language first. Your external reality follows your internal vocabulary. Start speaking like the person whose story you want to live. Because fluency isn't just about grammar and vocabulary. It's about becoming fluent in the language of your dreams. Chapter 3. The plot twist that changes everything. Every great story has a plot twist. That moment when everything changes. When the ordinary character discovers they have extraordinary power. When the victim becomes the hero. When the dreamer becomes the doer. Your plot twist isn't coming from outside. It's not going to be delivered by someone else. It's not going to happen by accident. Your plot twist happens the moment you realize this truth. You have been sleepwalking through your own story. You've been living on autopilot. Wake up, check phone, eat something, work, come home, watch TV, scroll social media, sleep, repeat. Day after day, month after month, year after year. The same chapter over and over and over. But heroes don't live on autopilot. Authors don't write on autopilot. Champions don't train on autopilot. The plot twist happens when you wake up. When you become conscious of your choices. When you stop being a passenger in your own life and grab the steering wheel. Let me tell you about Marcus. 5 years ago, he was working a job he hated, living paycheck to paycheck, watching life happen to other people. Then one day he had his plot twist. Not some dramatic external event. Just a moment of clarity where he said, "This is not my story. This is not how my story ends." That day, he started writing a new chapter. He learned new skills. He took risks. He failed, got back up, failed again, got back up again. Today, Marcus owns 3 businesses, speaks 4 languages fluently, and travels the world. What changed? The external circumstances were the same. The difference was internal. He went from being a character in his story to being the author of his story. Your plot twist moment. Right now, as you're reading this, you have a choice. You can close this and go back to your old story. Or you can decide that this is your plot twist moment. The moment where everything changes. Where you stop living by accident and start living by design. Solution. Write these words somewhere you'll see them every day. I am the author of my story, and today I start writing a new chapter. Then prove it with your actions. Chapter 4. The characters in your story. Every story has characters. In your life story, you get to choose who gets a speaking role. You get to decide who influences the plot. You get to choose who stays and who goes. Look around you. Who are the main characters in your story right now? Are they dream builders or dream killers? Are they pushing you toward greatness or pulling you toward mediocrity? Are they speaking the language of possibility or the language of limitation? Here's a hard truth. You become like the people you spend the most time with. If you're surrounded by people who complain, you'll become a complainer. If you're surrounded by people who make excuses, you'll become excuse maker. If you're surrounded by people who dream small, you'll dream small. But if you surround yourself with people who take action, who solve problems, who believe in growth, who speak multiple languages, who travel, who start businesses, who read books, who invest in themselves, you'll become that person too. I know what you're thinking. But these are my family, my friends, my co-workers. I can't just cut them out. I'm not telling you to be cruel. I'm telling you to be strategic. You don't have to cut people out, but you can limit their influence on your story. And you can actively seek out new characters, mentors, role models, fellow dreamers, who will elevate your story. The 5-person rule. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Write down their names. Now honestly assess, are these 5 people living the kind of story you want to live? If not, it's time to add some new characters to your story. Solution. Audit your current relationships. Who lifts you up? Who brings you down? 2. Seek out people who are already living your dream story. Join communities, attend events, read their books, listen to their content. Become the kind of person others want in their story. Be encouraging, ambitious, growth-minded. Remember, you can love people and still limit their influence on your decisions. Chapter 5. The Setting of Success. Every story has a setting. Where does your story take place? And I don't just mean geographically. I mean environmentally, mentally, emotionally. Are you writing your story in a setting of scarcity or abundance? In a setting of fear or courage? In a setting of comfort or growth? Look at your physical environment right now. Look at your room, your workspace, your daily surroundings. What story do they tell? Do they reflect the person you want to become or the person you're trying to leave behind? Your environment speaks to you every day. It either whispers dream big or it whispers stay small. It either says you can do anything or it says be realistic. If your environment is cluttered, chaotic, and cheap, it's writing a story of mediocrity in your subconscious mind. If your environment is clean, organized, and inspiring, it's writing a story of excellence. But setting isn't just physical. It's also digital. What's the setting of your phone? Your social media? Your entertainment choices? Are you consuming content that expands your story or shrinks it? Are you following people who make you feel possible or impossible? Are you watching content that educates you or just distracts you? Are you in digital environments that challenge you to grow or just comfortable enough to stay the same? The environment audit physical space. Does it inspire you or depress you? Digital space. Does it educate you or just entertain you? Social space. Do these people expand your vision or limit it? Mental space. Are your thoughts creating a story of possibility or impossibility? Solution. Change your setting to support your new story. Clean your space. Organize your environment. Unfollow accounts that make you feel small. Follow accounts that make you feel possible. Read books. Listen to podcasts. Join communities. Create an environment that constantly reminds you who you're becoming, not who you used to be. Chapter 6. The Conflict. Every hero must face, every great story has conflict. Every hero must face challenges, but here's what most people don't understand. The greatest conflict in your story isn't external. It's internal. It's not the economy, your boss, your family, your circumstances, or your past. The greatest enemy in your story is the voice in your head that says you can't. The voice that says you're not good enough, smart enough, young enough, old enough, experienced enough. That voice has a name: resistance. Resistance shows up every time you try to level up your story. Every time you try to write a better chapter, resistance appears with its arsenal of weapons. Fear. What if you fail? Doubt. Who do you think you are? Perfectionism. It's not ready yet. Comparison. Look how much better they are. Procrastination. You can start tomorrow. Resistance is not your enemy. Resistance is your compass. It points directly toward what you need to do. The stronger the resistance, the more important the action. You want to start a business? Resistance will scream. You want to speak English fluently? Resistance will whisper all the reasons you'll embarrass yourself. You want to change your life? Resistance will paint vivid pictures of all the ways you could fail. But here's the secret that separates heroes from victims. Heroes feel the resistance and act anyway. They don't wait for the fear to go away. They don't wait to feel ready. They feel the resistance, acknowledge it, and then do the thing anyway. The resistance test. Whatever you're avoiding right now, whatever you're procrastinating on, whatever makes you feel most afraid, that's probably exactly what you need to do to advance your story. Solution. E. Name your resistance. What specifically are you afraid of? To understand that feeling resistance means you're on the right path. Act in spite of the resistance, not in absence of it. Start before you feel ready. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in the presence of fear. Chapter 7. The Skills of Storytelling. You want to write a better story with your life? Then you need to develop the skills of successful storytelling. And the most important skill is this: learning how to learn. The world is changing faster than ever. The stories that worked 10 years ago don't work today. The skills that made people successful in the past might not make them successful in the future. But there's one skill that will always be relevant: the ability to learn new skills quickly. Learning is not just for school. Learning is the superpower of story creators. Every new skill you develop adds a new chapter to your story. Every new language you speak opens new worlds. Every new ability you master creates new possibilities. But most people stop learning after school. They think their story is written. They think their character is fixed. They think their plot is predetermined. That's victim thinking. Author thinking says, I can learn anything I need to learn to write the story I want to live. The learning stack. Language skills. English fluency opens global opportunities. But don't stop there. Learn the language of business, the language of technology, the language of your dreams. Digital skills. In today's world, digital fluency is life fluency. Learn to use technology to amplify your story. People skills. Your story involves other people. Learn to communicate, influence, inspire, and connect. Money skills. Money is a tool for story expansion. Learn to earn it, save it, invest it, and multiply it. Health skills. You can't write a great story from a weak body or tired mind. Learn to optimize your physical and mental performance. The 1% rule: you don't need to become perfect overnight. Just get 1% better every day. In 1 year, that's 37 times better. In 2 years, that's 377 times better. Small improvements compound into massive transformations. Solution. Pick one skill that would dramatically improve your story if you mastered it. Commit to practicing it for 30 minutes every day for the next 90 days. Don't try to learn everything. Just learn the one thing that will make the biggest difference in your story. Chapter 8. The Power of Plot. Armor in Video Games and Stories. Some characters have plot armor. They can't be defeated because they're essential to the story. They're protected by the narrative itself. You can create plot armor in your own life story. Not magical protection, but practical protection through preparation, skill development, and strategic thinking. Most people live their stories hoping nothing bad will happen. Author-minded people live their stories prepared for anything that could happen. They build multiple income streams, so losing one job doesn't end their story. They develop multiple skills, so they're never obsolete. They create multiple relationships, so they're never isolated. They maintain their health so they can write their story for decades. This isn't pessimism. This is strategic storytelling. This is understanding that the best stories have heroes who are prepared for the challenges that come their way. Financial plot armor. Multiple income sources. Emergency savings, investment portfolio. Continuous skill development. Social plot armor. Strong relationships. Professional network, mentors, community involvement. Physical plot armor. Good health habits. Regular exercise, proper nutrition, stress management, mental plot armor, continuous learning, problem-solving skills, emotional regulation, resilience practices, spiritual plot armor, clear purpose, strong values, meaningful goals, inner peace. Solution: audit your current plot armor. Where are you vulnerable? What could derail your story? Then systematically build protection in those areas. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Heroes don't hope for the best. They prepare for anything and then pursue the best. Chapter 9. The Supporting Cast. Every hero needs a supporting cast. You can't write a great story alone. But you need to be strategic about who you invite into your story and what roles they play. The mentor. Someone who has already written the story you want to live. They've made the mistakes, learned the lessons, and can guide you through the challenges. Find mentors through books, courses, programs, or direct relationships. The accountability partner. Someone who holds you to your commitments. Someone who won't let you quit when things get hard. Someone who cares more about your growth than your comfort. The cheerleader. Someone who believes in your story even when you don't. Someone who reminds you of your potential when you forget. Someone who celebrates your wins and encourages you through losses. The challenger. Someone who pushes you beyond your comfort zone. Someone who doesn't accept your excuses. Someone who sees more in you than you see in yourself and demands you live up to it. The collaborator. Someone who can help you write chapters you can't write alone. Someone with complementary skills, shared values, and mutual goals. Notice what's not on this list. The enabler, who supports your worst habits. The victim, who pulls you into their drama. The critic, who tears down your dreams. The competitor, who sees your success as their failure. The supporting cast audit. Look at the people in your life. What role are they playing in your story? Are they supporting your growth or enabling your stagnation? Solution 1. Identify what roles you need filled in your story. Actively. Seek out people who can fill those roles. Or B. Willing to play those roles for others. The best way to attract great supporting cast members is to be 1. Yourself. Lovingly but firmly limit the influence. of people who are hindering your story. Chapter 10. The Art of Story. Revision professional writers understand something that most people don't. The first draft is never the final draft. Great stories are written through revision, editing, and rewriting. Your life story works the same way. The chapter you're living right now isn't your final chapter. The character you are today isn't your final character. The plot you're following isn't your final plot. You can revise your story at any time. Don't like your career? Revise it. Don't like your relationships? Revise them. Don't like your habits? Revise them. Don't like your location? Revise it. Don't like your skills? Revise them. But here's what most people do wrong. They try to revise everything at once. They want to completely rewrite their entire story overnight. That's not revision. That's chaos. Professional revision is methodical. You focus on one element at a time. You make small changes and see how they affect the overall story. You test, adjust, and improve gradually. The story revision process. Assess what's working in your current story. What isn't? Be honest, but not harsh. Prioritize. What's the one change that would make the biggest positive impact on your story? 3. Plan. How will you make this change? What resources do you need? What obstacles will you face? 4. Act. Start making the change. Small steps, consistent action. Adjust. Monitor the results. What's working? What isn't? What needs to be tweaked? 6. Integrate. Once the change is solid, integrate it into your new normal, then move to the next revision. The 90-day revision cycle. Every 90 days, do a story revision. Look at where you are, where you want to go, and what needs to change. Then focus on one major revision for the next 90 days. Solution. Right now, identify one element of your story that needs revision. Not 10 elements, 1. Then commit to revising it over the next 90 days. Remember, you're not stuck with the story you have. You can always write a better version. Chapter 11. The Language of Success. This is the Fluent Storybook. Let's talk about the most important language you need to master, the language of success. This isn't just English. Although English fluency will definitely expand your story opportunities globally, the language of success includes several dialects, financial literacy, understanding money, investing, business, economics. Most people are illiterate in the language of money, and that keeps their stories small. Digital literacy, understanding technology, social media, online business, digital marketing. In today's world, digital illiteracy limits your story reach. Emotional literacy, understanding your emotions, other people's emotions, motivation, psychology. People who can't read emotional language struggle with relationships and leadership. Business literacy, understanding value creation, problem solving, customer service, sales, marketing. Even if you work for someone else, business literacy expands your story possibilities. Communication literacy, speaking, writing, listening, presenting, negotiating. Your story's impact is limited by your ability to communicate it. The fluency stack. Master one language at a time, but keep adding to your stack. Each new language multiplies your story possibilities. English plus strategy. Use English as your foundation, then add specialized languages. If you want to be an entrepreneur, learn business English. If you want to be a developer, learn tech English if you want to be a leader. Learn leadership English if you want to be an investor. Learn financial English solution. Choose one success language to focus on for the next 90 days. Immerse yourself in it. Read books, watch videos, listen to podcasts, join communities, practice daily. Become fluent not just in vocabulary, but in thinking patterns and cultural contexts. Chapter 12. The plot devices of personal growth. Great stories use plot devices to advance the narrative. Your life story can use the same devices to advance your personal growth. The inciting incident. Every great story starts with an event that sets everything in motion. Create inciting incidents in your life. Sign up for that course. Move to that city. Start that business. Apply for that job. Don't wait for incidents to happen to you. Create them. The rising action. The series of events that build toward the climax. Your daily habits, your skill development, your relationship building. These are the rising action of your story. Every day should move your story forward. The climax. The turning point where everything changes. Your moments of decision, your breakthrough achievements, your major life changes. Don't avoid climactic moments. Create them strategically. The resolution. How you integrate your growth and prepare for the next story arc. Your reflection, celebration, and goal-setting phases. Foreshadowing. Hint at where your story is going. Set intentions, make declarations, create vision boards. Plant seeds for future chapters. Flashbacks. Use your past to inform your present, but don't get stuck there. Learn from your history, but don't live in it. Character development. Show how you've changed through your actions, not just your words. Let your growth be visible in your choices. Solution. Consciously use these plot devices in your life. Create inciting incidents when your story gets stagnant. Build rising action through daily improvement. Embrace climactic moments instead of avoiding them. Use your past wisely, but focus on your future. Chapter 14. The sequels and series. Your life isn't just one story. It's a series. You get to write multiple books, multiple seasons, multiple story arcs. Maybe the first book of your series was about survival, getting through childhood, school, early adulthood. Maybe the second book was about building, career, relationships, stability. But what's the next book in your series? What's the next major story arc you want to explore? Career series. From employee to manager to entrepreneur to industry leader. Learning series. From one language to multiple languages to cultural fluency. Health series. From out of shape to fit to athletic to optimal performance. Wealth series. From broke to stable to wealthy to financially free. Relationship series. From single to dating to committed to family leader. Impact series. From self-focused to community-involved to world-changing. The key is to see your life as an ongoing series, not a single story. This gives you permission to reinvent yourself, to start new story arcs, to explore different themes. You're not stuck being the character you were in previous books. You can evolve, grow, and become someone completely different while still being authentically you. Series planning. Map out the next 3 to 5 books in your life series. What themes do you want to explore? What character development do you want to achieve? What adventures do you want to have? Solution. Write a brief synopsis for the next book in your life series. What's the main plot? Who are the characters? What challenges will the protagonist you face? What growth will occur? Then start living that book. Chapter 15. The Reader Experience. Here's something most people never consider. Other people are reading your story. Your life is being observed, absorbed, and interpreted by everyone around you. Your family is reading your story. Your friends are reading your story. Your coworkers, your neighbors, random people you encounter, they're all reading the story you're telling with your life. More importantly, future generations might read your story. Your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren will inherit the story you write today. So ask yourself, is your story worth reading? Would you recommend your life story to someone you love? Does your story inspire people or depress them? Does it show what's possible or what's impossible? This isn't about living for other people's approval. This is about understanding that your story has impact beyond yourself. You have a responsibility to write a story that contributes positively to the world. The legacy question. What do you want people to say about your story after it's finished? What lessons do you want your life to teach? What example do you want to set? The influence audit. Look at the people who are reading your story regularly. What are they learning from your example? Are you showing them how to grow or how to stay stuck? Are you modeling possibility or limitation? Solution. Write your life like it matters to more than just you. Because it does. Every choice you make, every habit you develop, every goal you pursue or abandon, it all becomes part of a story that other people will read and be influenced by. Make it a story worth reading. Chapter 16. The Publishing Process. Professional authors don't just write stories, they publish them. They put their work out into the world for others to read, learn from, and be inspired by. You need to publish your story too. Not literally unless you want to, but practically. You need to share your journey, your lessons, your growth, and your insights with others. This is how you multiply the impact of your story. This is how you help other people write better stories of their own. Ways to publish your story. Social media. Share your learning journey, your challenges, your victories. Show others what's possible. Mentoring. Help others who are a few chapters behind you in similar story arcs. Speaking. Share your experiences and lessons at events, meetings, or informal gatherings. Teaching. Turn your knowledge and experience into courses, workshops, or training programs. Writing, blog. Create content, or literally write a book about your journey. Modeling. Simply live your story so authentically and powerfully that others are inspired by your example. The key is this. Don't wait until your story is perfect to share it. Don't wait until you've made it to help others. Share your story as you're living it. Your current chapter might be exactly what someone else needs to read. The teaching principle. You can always teach what you're learning to someone who is one step behind you. You don't need to be the world's expert. You just need to be slightly ahead of the person you're helping. Solution. Choose one way to start publishing your story this month. Share one lesson you've learned, one challenge you've overcome, one insight you've gained. Help one person write a better chapter in their own story. Chapter 17. The Critics and Reviews. Every published story gets critics and reviews. Some people will love your story. Others will hate it. Most will be indifferent. This is normal, natural, and necessary. But here's what unsuccessful people do. They let the critics edit their story. They change their plot to please the reviewers. They write smaller stories to avoid negative feedback. That's backwards. Critics don't write stories. They just comment on them. Reviewers don't take risks. They just evaluate the risks others take. Your job is to write the most authentic, powerful, impactful story you can. Their job is to react to it. Don't confuse those roles. Types of critics you'll encounter. The fearful. They'll tell you your story is too risky because they're afraid of taking risks themselves. The bitter. They'll tell you your story won't work because their stories didn't work out the way they wanted. The comfortable. They'll tell you your story is unnecessary because they're comfortable with their current stories. The jealous. They'll criticize your story because they wish they had the courage to write a similar one. The constructive. They'll give you helpful feedback because they want your story to be as good as possible. Learn to distinguish between constructive criticism and destructive criticism. Accept the former, ignore the latter. The criticism test. Ask yourself, is this person trying to help me write a better story, or are they trying to stop me from writing my story at all? The answer will tell you how to respond. Solution. Develop thick skin and a clear vision. Listen to feedback from people who are qualified to give it and who have your best interests at heart. Ignore everyone else. Remember, no one can criticize the story you don't write. If you want to avoid all criticism, do nothing. But if you want to write a story worth reading, criticism is the price of admission. Chapter 18. The Never-Ending Story. Here's the beautiful truth about your life story. It doesn't end until you do. As long as you're breathing, you're writing. As long as you're conscious, you can make choices. As long as you have today, you can start a new chapter. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what's happened in previous chapters. It doesn't matter what critics have said about your story so far. What matters is what you write next. Colonel Sanders was 62 when he franchised KFC. Laura Ingalls Wilder published her first Little House book at 65. Grandma. Moses didn't start painting until she was 78. Frank. McCourt didn't publish Angela's Ashes until he was 66. Your story isn't over. Your best chapters might still be ahead of you, but you have to keep writing. You have to keep growing, learning, trying, failing, succeeding, evolving. You have to stay curious, stay hungry, stay committed to your story. The continuation commitment. Promise yourself that you'll never stop writing your story. That you'll never say, it's too late, or I'm too old, or I've missed my chance. The daily chapter. Every day is a page in your story. Some days you'll write better pages than others. That's okay. Just keep writing. Just keep living intentionally, purposefully, authentically. Solution. Set a goal to write at least one line of your story every day. One action that moves your plot forward. One choice that develops your character. One step toward the ending you want your story to have. We've reached the end of this video. But this is just the beginning of your story. You now have the tools, the insights, and the strategies you need to write a life story worth reading. You understand that you're not just a character in your story, you're the author. You control the plot, the characters, the setting, the conflict, and